So picture this. You are, you're constantly dusting your living room,
Oh, the worst.
right? Like you wipe down the coffee table on Saturday morning, and by Tuesday afternoon, there is already this visible gray film on it again.
Yeah, completely covered.
And maybe you're waking up with a stuffy nose or, you keep noticing this weird, musty, stale smell in that one specific room at the end of the hall.
We all have that one room.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do? You do what any logical modern person would do. You run out to the hardware store and you buy the really expensive, ultra-thick, high-end air filters.
The ones that promise to catch everything.
Right, the premium ones.
Yeah.
Or maybe you drop a couple $100 on a fancy standalone air purifier, the ones with the glowing blue light.
Oh, yeah, the aesthetic ones.
Yeah. You plug it in, you let it run, and, well, absolutely nothing changes. The dust comes right back. The smell is still there. The sneezes just continue.
It is an incredibly frustrating cycle for a homeowner. I mean, you feel like you are doing everything right,
Subtly.
You're following all the conventional wisdom, all the consumer advice for a clean home, but the environment inside your house is still just actively working against you.
Like fighting a losing battle.
Exactly. You are essentially fighting a battle while completely blind to where the attacks are actually coming from.
And that is exactly the mission of our deep dive today. We are going to uncover why these stubborn indoor air quality problems, the ones that completely defy all those expensive gadgets, often aren't actually air quality problems at all.
Right.
They are ductwork problems wearing a disguise. Today, we are diving into a really fascinating set of notes and real-world insights from Dave Hartzell.
Yes, great source material today.
He is a master HVAC technician running Hartzell's Heat and Air down in Kingfisher, Oklahoma.
Which, by the way, is an area that sees massive extreme weather swings.
Well, for sure.
I mean, that environment makes it the perfect testing ground for understanding, like, structural failures in a home.
Definitely. And he brings 45 years of hands-on experience to this, along with a 4.8 rating across almost 300 reviews. So he has seen literally every possible iteration of how a house can fail the people living inside it.
Decades of seeing the exact same mistakes.
Yeah. So, okay, let's unpack this. If I'm sitting in my living room and I'm staring at my expensive air purifier that clearly isn't working, where do I even begin to look?
Well, you begin by completely ignoring that shiny box on the wall.
Really? Ignore the equipment entirely.
Yep. To understand why the air you breathe might be secretly compromised, we have to look past the visible equipment and explore the hidden delivery network of the home.
The ducts.
The ductwork, exactly. People just assume that if their furnace is brand new or, their air conditioner is a top-of-the-line model, their air must be pristine.
Because it's new, it makes sense.
Right, but the equipment is really only the engine. The ducts are the highway system.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah, so if that highway is full of potholes or collapsed bridges or detours through a swamp.
A swamp.
Huh.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But if the highway is broken, the cargo, which in this case is your conditioned air, is going to be completely ruined by the time it reaches its destination, regardless of how new or fancy the engine is.
Wow. Okay, so let's look at the symptoms of that ruined cargo, because the way people misdiagnose this is actually pretty fascinating.
It really is.
In Dave's notes, he lists the obvious ones, right? The constant dust, the musty smells, the allergy flare-ups that magically seem worse when you're sitting on your own couch than they do when you're standing out in your backyard.
The classic signs.
But he also lists another symptom that I kind of have to push back on.
Oh, what's that?
He says rooms that are inexplicably 10 degrees hotter or colder than the rest of the house are a sign of poor air quality.
Yes.
But wait, how does a hot room classify as an air quality problem? Isn't that just like a comfort issue?
Well, we tend to separate temperature from air quality in our minds, as consumers. But mechanically speaking, they are inextricably linked. Think about what a duct system is actually supposed to do. It pushes conditioned air into a room through a supply vent, right?
Right.
And then it pulls the existing air back through the return vents to be filtered and conditioned all over again.
Okay, a cycle.
Right, a closed loop. So if a room is 10 degrees hotter than the rest of the house, it means the air in that room is not moving properly.
Oh, I see.
It's either not receiving enough supply air or the old air is not being pulled out.
So the air in that hot room is just sitting there completely stagnant.
Exactly. And if the air isn't moving, it isn't being filtered.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the air in that hot bedroom isn't passing through your central filtration media at all. It's just trapping whatever allergens, dead skin cells, dust, or pet dander are already in that space.
Just swirling them around every time someone walks in the room.
Yep. So when we throw standalone air purifiers at a symptom like dust, without understanding the root cause, which is a breakdown in that structural delivery network, it's a fundamental flaw in how we maintain our homes.
So basically, you cannot have good air quality without proper air movement.
Precisely. They are the same thing.
Okay, so if the issue is the delivery network, we really need to talk about where this network actually lives. Because according to Dave, the environment we force our ductwork to live in is just brutal.
Oh, it's basically a torture chamber for materials.
Seriously. In central Oklahoma, he says attics are routinely hitting 140 to 150 degrees in July.
Easily.
Or conversely, the ducts are running under the house in crawl spaces that are incredibly damp, pitch black, and sometimes doubling as high-density housing for local rodents.
Which is an incredibly hostile environment. I mean, we are asking thin sheet metal and flexible plastics to endure extreme thermal expansion and contraction.
Day after day.
Day after day, decade after decade.
And Dave's notes mention that many of the homes he services, and he notes this really applies to homes built across the country in the 1970s and 1980s, they still have their original ductwork.
Which is terrifying.
Right. I know building codes were completely different back then, but what exactly is failing up in those attics after 40 years?
What's fascinating here is the specific point of failure. It is almost always the sealant.
The sealant, just the tape.
Yeah. When those older systems were assembled, contractors often used cheap gray cloth tape to seal the joints where two pieces of duct connected.
Wait, like literal duct tape?
Literally standard cloth duct tape. They didn't use the thick rubbery mastic sealant or the heavy-duty metal foil tape that is strictly required by code today.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So when you bake cloth tape in a 150-degree attic for 30 years, it completely degrades.
I can imagine.
It dries out, turns to literal dust, and the adhesive just completely fails.
And once that tape turns to dust, the seams of the ductwork just pop wide open.
Yep. Flexible ducts sag, they kink, or they just entirely collapse.
Dave mentions that sometimes you can go up into these attics and find gaps in the main trunk lines big enough to stick your entire arm inside.
Oh, easily. And this isn't some rare anomaly either. Industry averages show that homes with compromised ducts are experiencing a 20 to 30% loss of conditioned air.
20 to 30%?
Yeah, right into these unconditioned spaces.
Losing 30% of the air I just paid a fortune to cool is wild.
It's throwing money away.
But looking at the mechanics of this, it's not just about losing the cold air, is it?
No, not at all.
Because the system is pushing air out, but it's also pulling air in. Like you said earlier, it's a closed loop.
Right.
So if you have a massive leak on the return side of your ductwork, the side that is supposed to be pulling stale air from your living room back to the unit, it's like you've installed a giant vacuum cleaner up in your attic.
Well, worse than a vacuum cleaner, actually.
Worse?
Yeah, because a vacuum cleaner at least has a bag to trap the debris. This is blowing it directly into your breathing air.
Oh, that's disgusting.
It's a massive infiltration problem driven by negative pressure.
Yeah.
The blower motor is designed to pull a specific volume of air. If there is a gaping hole in the return duct in the attic, the motor doesn't care where the air comes from. It just pulls from the path of least resistance.
Which is the massive hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sucks up the 150-degree superheated air, the fiberglass insulation fibers, the mold spores, the dried rodent droppings from the crawl space,
Oh, stop.
and injects that entire cocktail straight into the airstream.
And because it's pulling from the return duct behind the walls, it completely bypasses the home's air filter, right?
Completely.
Because your filter is usually located at that indoor grill in your hallway. So if the leak in the duct is between that grill and the actual HVAC unit,
Then all that attic contamination just sneaks in through the side door.
wow, past all your defenses and blows straight out of the supply vents onto your dining room table.
Yep. All the money you spend on high-end filters at the hardware store is rendered completely useless by a single gap in the attic.
Okay, sucking in dry fiberglass dust is horrible. Yeah. But looking at Dave's notes, the negative pressure also pulls in extreme humidity from outside.
Yes, the moisture chain.
Right. Which introduces a completely different, much wetter, and honestly much grosser problem into the system. How does a dry leak in an attic turn into a wet problem inside the machine?
Well, the moisture chain is where a physical leak turns into a biological hazard.
Okay, walk me through that.
To understand this, we have to look at the evaporator coil, which sits inside your indoor unit.
The part that gets cold.
Right. Its primary job is to cool the air, but its secondary, equally important job is to dehumidify.
Yeah.
As warm air passes over the freezing cold metal fins of the coil, condensation forms. It's just like water droplets gathering on the outside of a cold glass of iced tea on a hot, humid summer day.
Got it. And that condensation drips off the coil into a drain pan, and then it's supposed to flow safely outside through a little PVC pipe.
Exactly. But remember our leaky ducts?
Oh, right. The vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, they are pulling in massive amounts of unconditioned, highly humid air from the attic or the damp crawl space.
Way more humidity than the system is designed for.
Way more. Your evaporator coil was sized and installed to handle the moderate humidity of your living room, not the intense humidity of the entire neighborhood.
So the system just gets overwhelmed.
The system begins working in constant overdrive, pulling literal buckets of water out of this infiltrated air.
And because there's so much water, and inevitably all that dust and fiberglass we just talked about being pulled in from those same leaks, the drain lines get choked with algae and sludge, right?
Yes, the water can't escape.
Those drain pans just fill up with standing water.
Yeah.
So you now have a pool of stagnant water sitting inside a pitch black, enclosed metal box with constant airflow moving over it.
It is the ultimate breeding ground for mold and bacteria.
And that biological growth doesn't just stay confined to the pan, does it?
Not at all. As the system blows air across that contaminated water, it aerosolizes the spores and the odors.
Pushing them through the entire house.
Exactly. This is what causes that very distinct, musty, earthy, almost sweet smell that people notice.
So if I'm a homeowner and my house suddenly smells weird, how can I tell if it's a mold issue in the drain pan versus just, a generally dusty, leaky duct?
Yeah.
Is there a way to isolate that?
Well, your nose is actually a highly tuned diagnostic tool for this specific problem.
Really? Just by sniffing?
Yeah. If the musty, earthy smell hits you the exact moment the air conditioner kicks on like a distinct wave of odor, right as the fan starts blowing, that is almost always biological growth on the coil or in the drain pan.
Oh, because the air's washing right over it.
Exactly. It means the air is washing directly over a damp, contaminated surface before entering the room.
Wow. And the smell is just the immediate warning. But the physical damage can escalate so quickly, too.
Oh, devastatingly fast.
Dave's notes mention that these overflowing pans, which, by the way, are often located right above your head in the attic, will eventually rust out.
Yep, they rust, they crack.
And suddenly you have water pouring down through your ceiling drywall.
It happens all the time. A homeowner sees a brown water stain on their bedroom ceiling, and they immediately assume they have a roof leak.
Right, you'd call a roofer.
And they do. They call a roofer when the actual problem is their HVAC system drowning in its own condensation because the ducts are sucking in too much humidity.
Which is why having secondary drain pans and doing annual inspections before the summer heat hits is so crucial.
It is a perfect cascade of mechanical failures.
It really is.
I mean, think about it. A broken piece of 30-year-old cloth tape leads to a duct leak. The duct leak pulls in excessive humidity.
Right.
The humidity overwhelms the coil and clogs the line. The clogged line leads to biological growth. The overflowing pan destroys your ceiling.
And the root cause was never the roof.
Exactly. The root cause was a 5-cent piece of tape.
Man. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because once a homeowner smells that mold or sees that constant dust, their first instinct is exactly what we talked about at the beginning. They go buy products to clean the air.
They try to treat the symptom.
Yes. And according to Dave, this is the worst possible move.
It is. Putting a standalone air purifier in a room that is being fed by a leaky, contaminated duct system is, as Dave puts it, like mopping the floor while the faucet is still running.
That is a brilliant way to phrase it.
It really is. You might clean the immediate 3 square feet around the purifier, but the central system is just going to keep pumping attic air back into the room every single time it cycles on.
And let's talk about the filters, because people think, I'll just buy the thickest, highest-rated filter I can find, the one that traps viruses, smoke, and smog.
The Hymer-V filters.
Yeah, the Hymer-V ones. But Dave points out that putting one of those ultra-thick filters on a compromised system can actually cause the exact drain pan flood we just talked about.
It absolutely can.
I need you to explain this, because how does a clean filter cause a flood? And what even is a MERV rating?
Okay, so MERV stands for Minimum Efficiency Reporting Value.
Okay.
It is basically a measurement of how tightly woven the filter fibers are and how small of a particle they can trap.
So a higher number means a tighter weave.
Exactly. The higher the MERV number, the tighter the weave. Now, imagine trying to run a marathon while breathing through a loose cotton bandana.
Okay, relatively easy.
Right. Now, imagine trying to run that same marathon breathing through a dense medical-grade N95 mask.
Oh, man. You'd be gasping.
Your lungs have to work significantly harder to pull the same amount of oxygen. Your HVAC blower motor faces the exact same struggle.
So a high RV filter creates massive resistance.
It severely restricts the airflow. And if you restrict the airflow too much, the air isn't moving across that evaporator coil fast enough to absorb the heat.
Oh, no. So what happens to the cold coil?
When that happens, the temperature of the coil drops below freezing.
Wow.
The condensation on the coil turns to solid ice. Your indoor unit literally freezes into a block of ice.
And then the system shuts off.
Exactly. When the system shuts off, all that ice melts at once, completely overwhelming the drain pan, overflowing, and coming right down through your ceiling.
That is wild. By trying to overfilter the air to solve a dust problem, you inadvertently starved the system of oxygen, froze it solid, and flooded your own house.
It's the law of unintended consequences.
Good.
And this logic also applies to another highly marketed quick fix, duct cleaning.
Oh, yeah, you see the ads everywhere.
Trucks offering to vacuum out your ducts for a flat fee.
Right.
Now, duct cleaning certainly has its place, but it is wildly oversold as a cure-all.
How so?
Well, if you clean a leaky duct system, you are removing the current layer of debris, sure, but you haven't fixed the hole in the attic.
You left the vacuum cleaner running.
Exactly. The moment you turn the system back on, it just vacuums up a fresh batch of fiberglass and dust. As Dave emphasizes, sequence matters.
You have to seal the leaks first.
You must seal the leaks first, then clean the ducts. Order of operations is critical.
So if consumer quick fixes like thick filters and vacuum trucks don't work, what does a professional structural intervention actually entail? And let's be real, what does it cost?
Well, a real intervention abandons guesswork. It starts with a proper physical inspection.
Meaning someone actually goes up there.
Yes, that means a technician actually climbing up into that 140-degree attic. They are inspecting the seams manually, but they are also testing for static pressure imbalances.
What does static pressure mean in this context?
Think of static pressure like the blood pressure of your HVAC system.
Okay.
It is the resistance the air faces as it moves through the ducts. If a doctor takes your blood pressure and it's dangerously low, they know there is a severe issue with your cardiovascular system, maybe a hemorrhage.
Something's bleeding out.
Exactly. A technician does the same thing. They measure the pressure inside the ducts. If the pressure is way too low, they know conditioned air is hemorrhaging into the attic.
That makes total sense.
They might even perform a duct blaster test, where they seal off all your vents, attach a specialized fan, and pressurize the ductwork to calculate the exact percentage of air that is escaping.
So it takes the problem from a vague feeling of draftiness to a hard, actionable data point. And once they find the leaks, the repairs aren't just slapping more cheap tape on it, right?
Definitely not.
They're doing manual sealing, getting in there with actual mastic sealant, which is that thick, rubbery paste, and embedding fiberglass mesh tape into it so it forms a permanent, flexible bond that won't degrade in the heat.
That's the manual way. Or, if the ductwork is behind drywall and completely inaccessible, they might use a technology called AeroSeal.
I saw this in the notes. It's described as an aerosolized sealant. But how does a spray magically find a leak from the inside?
It is brilliant engineering. They block off the vents and pressurize the duct system. Then they blow a fog of suspended polymer particles into the ducts.
Okay.
Because the system is pressurized, the air violently rushes out of the leaks.
Seeking a way out.
Right. And as the air escapes through those tiny cracks and holes, the polymer particles crash into the edges of the hole and stick to it.
Oh, wow.
They build up layer by layer until the hole is completely sealed from the inside out.
That is so cool.
It's very similar to using a liquid tire sealant to fix a puncture on a bicycle, but for your home's respiratory system.
That is incredible. And Dave notes that spring is the absolute best time to do any of this, before the summer heat turns the attic into an oven and your system is forced to run 24/7.
You don't want to wait until July.
No. But we have to talk about the economics because people really hate paying for diagnostics.
They do.
But Dave breaks his cost down very transparently in the notes. He says a dispatch fee to get a professional to your door is $99.
Pretty standard.
Yeah. A full diagnostic, where they actually test the system and measure that static pressure we talk about, is $111. And that gets credited toward any repair if you move forward within 2 weeks.
Right.
And if you just want a comprehensive system tune-up, that's $229.
The hurdle for many homeowners is psychological. I mean, we are conditioned to look for the fastest, most easily purchasable solution.
We want to buy a product, not a service.
We want to pay for a tangible fix, not for information.
But balking at that $111 diagnostic fee is like going to a doctor, complaining of severe chest pain and demanding they just write you a prescription for painkillers without running any blood tests or doing an EKG.
Exactly.
You wouldn't do that to your own body. Why would you do that to the most expensive, complex mechanical system in your home?
You shouldn't.
The diagnostic test is exactly what prevents you from wasting thousands of dollars treating the wrong disease.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, fixing that 30% leak is not just a repair expense. It is a direct intervention on your monthly utility bill.
Because you stop wasting cooling.
Every month you let those leaks exist, you are essentially paying the utility company like OG&E in Dave's area to air condition your attic.
Just bleeding money into an empty, uninhabitable space.
Exactly.
Dave also mentions that while duct sealing alone doesn't always trigger direct utility rebates, doing the ductwork alongside a new system installation is where the big financial incentives come in.
That's where you see the return on investment.
Right. He notes you can qualify for OG&E efficiency rebates up to $1,500 per unit, or even $1,000 per ton if you are putting in a geothermal system.
Yes.
And just to clarify, because I had to look this up when I saw the notes, a ton in HVAC terms has absolutely nothing to do with the physical weight of the machine.
No, not at all. It is a historical measurement of cooling capacity.
Okay.
It goes all the way back to the days before air conditioning when people cooled buildings with actual literal blocks of ice.
Wait, really?
Yes. A ton in HVAC means the ability of the machine to remove 12,000 BTUs of heat per hour, which happens to be the exact amount of heat required to melt a 1-ton block of ice in 24 hours.
That is a wild piece of trivia.
It's fascinating, right?
So utility companies are offering massive rebates per ton of cooling capacity because they know a highly efficient 3-ton geothermal unit is completely useless if the delivery network is leaking 30% of the air into the crawl space.
It all comes back to system-level thinking. The utility company understands what the homeowner often misses. The unit and the ducts are not two separate things.
They are a team.
They are a single, continuous loop. You cannot achieve efficiency, comfort, or clean air by only addressing half of the loop.
So the main takeaway from Dave's decades of experience is incredibly clear. If you are sitting on your couch right now listening to this, and your air conditioner just kicked on, smell the air.
Seriously, pay attention to it.
Is it fresh? Is it sweet? Is it musty? Before you throw your hard-earned money at shiny new air quality equipment, you have to investigate the hidden delivery system.
Stop treating the symptom.
Stop treating the dust, the smell, the hot room, and find the source. Because the very air you are breathing right now is only as clean as the hidden, forgotten network delivering it.
And this raises an important question, one that extends far beyond just the sheet metal and cloth tape in your attic.
What's that?
If 20 to 30% of your home's conditioned air is quietly escaping into the dark right above your head, completely unseen but steadily costing you money and comfort, what other invisible leaks, whether in your finances, your time, or your personal energy, are currently draining your daily life without you even noticing?
Oh, man. Sometimes the biggest problems aren't the ones making a loud noise. They're the ones quietly exhausting the system from the inside out.
Definitely something to think about.
Don't let your diagnostic landscape remain murky. Find the leak. Fix the source. Until next time.